Running a restaurant has always been a challenging task, and with the economic downturn in 2024, keeping a restaurant open has become near impossible. As a result, a lot of huge restaurant chains are struggling to stay open. In this video, we'll be taking you through 10 of the most notable restaurants in that category who are struggling financially right now. Starting off our list, we have Steak 'n Shake. This classic American fast casual joint that's all about that retro diner vibe, known for its steak burgers made with actual steak, not just ground beef, and creamy milkshakes. This spot has been providing comfort food since 1934. With a 50s-inspired look and friendly service, it became a favorite for anyone craving a hearty burger or a thick shake. Sadly, things haven't been so jolly in recent years. After nearly going bankrupt in 2021, Steak 'n Shake has faced some serious problems, going into massive debts, struggling to keep up with its sit-down model, and as a result, losing customers. They were also forced to close down about 90 locations in the last few years, reducing from its peak to under 550 restaurants. And to bounce back, the brand made some changes. They invested $40 million into revamping their style, switching from sit-down service to a fast food setup with self-order kiosks, and cutting down the menu to focus on their star items, steak burgers and shakes. Thanks to these changes, Steak 'n Shake managed to turn a profit for the first time in 4 years. However, the brand isn't clear yet. With the rising food costs and labor shortages, the future is a little uncertain for this revamped fast food chain. Next, we have Dave & Buster's. Sure, this franchise might not be as old as Steak 'n Shake, but Dave & Buster's will be missed just as much if it were to close down. Since 1982, Dave & Buster's has been the place to enjoy everything from burgers and wings to cocktails, coupled with a ton of arcade games. But in 2024, the franchise was hit with some financial difficulty. They reported a 1.5% dip in revenue and a 5.6% drop in same-store sales for the first quarter compared to last year. The challenges are mainly due to inflation, which has caused people to dine out less. Additionally, the company's stock value has taken a significant hit this year, reflecting the broader struggles they're facing. To try to turn things around, Dave & Buster's have been working on a few strategies. They're spicing things up by adding new menu items, remodeling locations, and opening new stores. Plus, they're working on better pricing and ways to boost customer engagement. While things may seem a little rocky right now, Dave & Buster's is optimistic about the future thanks to their plans to modernize and keep improving their offerings. Moving on, the next restaurant chain on our list is Old Country Buffet. This chain was once a big name in the buffet world, but now it's seen a steady decline thanks to a mix of industry shifts and its own issues. At its peak, it had hundreds of locations under different brands like Hometown Buffet and Ryan's, but over the last decade, things started going downhill fast. First, the buffet model just wasn't as appealing anymore, especially as people began leaning toward healthier, more specialized dining. Then, the pandemic hit and buffets took a huge hit as safety concerns and dining restrictions made the self-serve model impossible to maintain. The company filed for bankruptcy multiple times, and its last parent company, Fresh Acquisitions, declared bankruptcy in 2021. Allegations of misusing funds and losing the trust of creditors, who were left with nearly $75 million in unsecured debt, didn't help matters. To add to that, there were operational problems with health code violations and lawsuits, including a notorious salmonella poisoning case that hurt the brand's image. The rise of delivery apps and a shift towards less in-person dining didn't help either. Old Country Buffet just couldn't keep up with the times. Though some of its assets have been bought up by other companies, there's little interest in bringing back the brand. It looks like the buffet chain's days are done, marking the end of an era for this once popular spot. At number 7, we have P.F. Chang's. While Old Country Buffet may be a thing of the past, P.F. Chang's still has some fight left in it. This American restaurant chain, known for its Asian-inspired cuisine, has had its own share of struggles over the years, especially with the shifting market and the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Before being acquired by Paulson & Co. and Tri-Artisan Capital Partners in 2019, P.F. Chang's was facing declining sales and increased competition in the casual dining world. Then came the pandemic, which hit the upscale casual model hard, especially since it relied so much on in-restaurant dining. The chain's attempt to launch to-go locations in busy cities like New York and Chicago faced challenges, as fewer office workers were around due to the rise of remote work. But surprisingly, their suburban to-go spots did better, showing they could adapt when needed. On top of that, they had broader issues like labor shortages and rising inflation, which put a strain on costs and operations. But P.F. Chang's didn't just sit back. They invested in tech to improve efficiency and worked on making the customer experience even better with improved menu presentations and an updated restaurant vibe. Despite all the problems, P.F. Chang's has bounced back with a focus on flexibility and expanding internationally to regain its stability. And then we have World of Beer. Like a lot of other restaurants on this list, World of Beer Bar and Kitchen was once a hotspot in the casual dining world, but it's been going through some tough times lately. The chain, which grew fast during the craft beer boom of the early 2010s, has now filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy after closing down 14 locations over the past year. That leaves them with just 33 spots, mostly in the southeast. So what went wrong? Well, for starters, many of their franchisees lacked the experience needed to run the business properly, leading to mismanagement and some legal trouble. On top of that, the chain struggled to keep up with the rising costs while sales were dropping. And then came COVID-19, which worsened everything and slowed down any chance of recovery. Now, World of Beer is focusing on restructuring and doing whatever it can to keep the remaining profitable locations stay afloat. Only time will tell whether it'll pull through and bounce back. Halfway through our list now, another restaurant struggling to stay open is the Sticky Fingers joint. Sticky Fingers joint is a New York-based chicken finger chain, and right now it's in a really tight spot. At its peak, it had 16 locations, but now it's down to just 10 and had to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in April 2024, and things might get worse, with even more closures on the horizon. So what's causing all the trouble? Well, Sticky's relies on a lot on customers walking through the door, but with the boom in food delivery services, foot traffic has taken a big hit. Sure, they partner with delivery apps, but they end up losing a big chunk of revenue to those services. On top of that, rising food costs are squeezing their already slim profits. And if that wasn't enough, Sticky's has also run into some legal drama. Back in 2022, a barbecue chain with a similar name sued them for trademark infringement, leading to some pretty costly legal battles. Then in 2021, they got hit with a $600,000 judgment for breaking a lease early, just adding to the financial pressure. Sticky's is also dealing with operational problems and razor-thin profit margins, which are often the recipe for bankruptcy. Unless they make some major changes, they might continue to struggle in this tough restaurant game. At number 4, we have Fuddruckers. Fuddruckers, the beloved burger chain known for its build-your-own-burger experience, has had its fair share of struggles lately. After going through ownership changes and facing financial difficulties, the chain has had to close a few of its locations. In 2021, Fuddruckers was acquired by Black Titan Franchise Systems. The goal of this new ownership was to stabilize the brand and focus more on franchise-operated locations. Today, Fuddruckers has around 50 locations spread across the US, Mexico, Puerto Rico, and Canada. While rumors of widespread shutdowns have circulated, the chain is still hanging on. Some restaurants have closed due to things like lease issues and underperformance, but locations in places like South Florida have assured customers that they're not going anywhere. To keep things fresh and competitive, Fuddruckers has been working on modernizing both its offerings and management approach to keep up with changing tastes and market demands. So while Fuddruckers may seem on uncertain ground right now, there's still hope for the brand. Number 3, Metro Diner. Moving on to another oldie, Metro Diner has had its fair share of challenges, especially when it comes to keeping up with industry changes that were sped up by the pandemic. Founded in 1992, Metro Diner became known for its hearty comfort food and friendly vibe. But like many other restaurants, it took a hit during COVID-19, with some locations temporarily closing and a major shift toward takeout and delivery. At one point, the diner had to furlough thousands of employees, with only a few staff members managing to-go orders. Despite these problems, Metro Diner has shown some serious resilience. The brand bounced back by adapting its business model, focusing on off-premises dining, which now makes up about 30% of its sales. They also increased sanitation and safety measures, but while the diner has made some solid progress in getting back on track, it still faces the broader challenges of fluctuating customer behavior and economic pressures. However, its efforts to innovate and modernize could help give it an edge as it continues to move forward. Number 2, Rubio's Coastal Grill. Winding down this list, we've got Rubio's Coastal Grill, famous for its fish tacos. It's had its share of struggles in recent years, though. Once boasting over 200 locations, the chain has seen a steep decline, now operating only 86 spots in California, Arizona, and Nevada by 2024. The company has filed for its second bankruptcy since 2020, signaling that its financial troubles are far from over. One of its major issues has been the rising cost of doing business, especially in California. The state's minimum wage jumping to $20 for fast food workers, the pressure on the company's finances only got worse. Even though Rubio's tried to bounce back by closing 48 underperforming locations, the financial struggles were too much to overcome. Rubio's has also struggled with poor operations and razor-thin profit margins, which are often the main culprits behind restaurant bankruptcies. As customer visits declined and costs kept going up, it became harder to keep up with their debts, leading to their recent bankruptcy filing. To try to get back on track, Rubio's was sold to its lender, the Original Fish Taco LLC, for $40 million. The new owners are now working to stabilize things, but whether they can pull off a successful turnaround is still up in the air. Number 1. Red Lobster. Red Lobster, the beloved seafood chain, has found itself in some deep financial trouble, which might surprise a lot of people. Founded in 1968, the company now operates over 500 locations, down from its peak of more than 600. In May 2024, Red Lobster filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, citing rising food and labor costs along with significant operating losses. A major blow came from their Ultimate Endless Shrimp promotion, which resulted in an $11 million loss. The bankruptcy filing revealed that Red Lobster has between $1 billion and $10 billion in assets and liabilities. The company plans to use the bankruptcy process to streamline its operations, close some underperforming locations, and sell off a good chunk of its assets. Still, despite these moves, Red Lobster's future remains uncertain. On the bright side, Fortress Investment Group, a lender, has stepped in to buy the chain out of bankruptcy, providing a glimmer of hope for the seafood giant. But whether Red Lobster can recover and thrive once again, only time will tell. That's all for this video on 10 huge restaurant chains that are struggling financially right now. Which of these restaurant chains do you think will pull through? Let us know in the comments section and enjoy our other videos.